Guys, this is another video to go through this week's task for you. And we're going to go through it in chunks, and we're going to go through what we're expected of lesson 4. So the first couple of slides here, it just tells you about what we've done so far. We are working through the drama process of getting an idea from a stimulus all the way through to adding theatre arts. We're going to get 3 stimulus, and you're going to respond to them by offering your ideas and ideas for a play or musical or TV show. You're then going to pick one, which you've done your 5 W's for, and then today we're going to develop that into scenario. Okay, and by the end of this project, you should have done a marketing pitch by PowerPoint or video. It's common process in film and TV where the writer speaks to TV and producers and directors and tries to sell them a concept. That is how Friends was established. They run the concept past the board of directors. They were like, this sounds like a great idea. And the pilot episode with Rachel in the wedding dress was made. And it got tested on ratings, viewers, and it became successful. So they commissioned it into a full series. Okay, so essentially, when you're doing your scenario breakdown today, you're imagining you're creating a pilot episode. After you have went through all the steps in the presentation, you're going to do a pitch presentation about your overall ideas. Okay, and there is an example on the YouTube link that I have added about what you're doing with that. So today we're thinking about pilot 1 episode and what we want to create on that. So you're thinking, do I want any conventions? Do I want to use flashback? Do I want to have monologues? How am I going to create this drama? Consider the structure of your drama, whether you want it to be linear or non-linear. Now, linear, you remember, is drama in a time order. Non-linear is with flashbacks and flash forwards. And the sort of clue to that is linear's got the word line in it, and non-linear's got the word no line in it, which means it does not go in time or date order. So I've now worked on my pilot episode, and you've noticed down the side, I put the words time, place, and action. It is very important you do that. Because especially if film scripts, they're all broken into little chunks and they give people an idea of location and time period. And that will obviously affect the shots which somebody will be getting. So, you start off here. I've just made a decision that I want to set my drama kind of about the present day. I've made it in the morning, okay, because that would affect my use of theatre arts, my use of lighting, sound, etc. for the fact of what I would use. It's Thursday the 20th of January 2019, and the place is a Victorian house. So that would give you images of what you'd want to create there, kind of old Victorian kind of grand place that they've moved into. The family are in the action. Action is what happens. And quite a lot of time in films, they'll use the word action, and that just means events start. The family arrived at their new home, each carrying boxes. Now you've noticed here I've not said I or we. Okay? It's all the family, or people's names, or they. Okay? You're describing what happens. It's not a script. You're not putting yourself into it. You're not giving examples of what they might say. You're telling us what they said. The family arrived at a new home, each carrying boxes. It is dusty and looks like it's not been lived in for a while. The kids are not happy about the move and argue with mum and dad about why they have to leave their old house. The mum and dad explain it's because the dad got a new job and the kids go off to explore the house. So scene 1, nothing's moved. There's not been a change of location or a change of time period yet. So it's still one scene. Moving to the second scene. It's still in the Victorian house. In the middle of the night, the family are all in bed. So it's changed a couple of hours later. So the set and the lighting and the scene would change. The kids suddenly waking up and hear crying from out the end of the hall. As they reach the door, it suddenly bangs shut and a voice says, "Go away." So we've now moved on. You can see my drama is in linear order because it is gone in time order. So we're now moving on to the next day, and this is 9 o'clock in the morning in Victorian house again, and this time we're at the breakfast table, so it tells a bit about where the location is at the scene. The children explain to their parents what they saw last night. The parents don't believe them and say they must have had a nightmare. Okay. Then we're moving on again, this time to later on the day. Yet again, it will affect the sort of time of day and that will be affected by the use of lights or sound or costume. Okay, so it's the middle of the day. Sorry, it's not. It's the middle of the night, and in London, and the family are all in bed, and the children suddenly wake up to hear crying from the room at the end of the hall. As they reach the door, it suddenly bangs shut, and a voice says, "Go away." So we've changed the location and the time period. Okay. Next morning, yet again, we're now changing scene because we're changing time period. So it's 9 a.m. in the Victorian house, and it's at the breakfast table again. And the kids explain to the parents about what they saw last night. The parents don't believe them and say they must have had a nightmare. Okay. And then we're moving on to scene 4, which I have set in the middle of the night again. So yet again, it's probably a change of location. It's upstairs in the bedrooms rather than downstairs at the breakfast table. That would affect the lights and the costume the children will be wearing. Again, the children wake up in the middle of the night and hear voices and go to the door. This time they discover that it belongs to an old lady. They ask her why she's crying and tells them that she feels alone but doesn't want to leave her house as she's memories of her family in it. You can imagine that if someone's been in their house all their life, the woman doesn't necessarily maybe know she's dead, or, you know, it's her house. Why are these intruders in this house? The children ask her to stop frightening them and they will let her stay. She agrees. So we now move on to the next scene, which is scene 5. And I've actually made this 2 months in the future. Okay, yet again, it's in linear order because I've not necessarily flashed back or flashed forward and then gone back in time. So it's still at Victorian house. The family are happy in the house and the kids don't mention the ghost anymore to their parents. The ghost is finally happy to have company. Now she doesn't think of them she thinks of them as a family, as not intruders. And this can be told through monologues. Okay, so that's me explained what a scenario breakdown is. You can have your own different version of this. Okay, you have to decide whether it's linear or non-linear before doing that. As we explained, is linear is in time order and non-linear is in non-time order. So I'm going to stop it there just now, and hopefully that will explain a little bit to you about what a scenario breakdown is.